Hello everybody, welcome back to the fourth episode of us trying to rebuild Manchester United. If you haven't seen the first three parts, basically we've signed Gakpo and Azmoun as strikers, we've signed Matty Cash to be a new right back, we've let a few players go including Cristiano Ronaldo, and we're trying to rebuild the squad using players like Tuanzebe, but it's actually Garnacho who's probably going to play the most minutes this season, even though he's one of the worst players in the squad. If you've got any suggestions for players you think we should sign to rebuild this squad, let us know. But let's get started with the first game in today's episode, which is going to be an away match at Craven Cottage against Fulham. We put out a very strong side. Of course, Fulham are a decent team. They've got a couple of players that used to play for Liverpool. They've got Dan James up front, who of course used to play for us alongside Mitrovic. A very nice team, but I'd say overall we're much stronger in basically every position. Rashford went on a nice early skill run there before we realised we were on the wrong control settings. Casemiro does what he does by winning the ball really high up before putting a nice pass out to Gakpo. He's maybe a bit wider than he want to be, but the cross comes in, and unfortunately Rashford's overhead kick couldn't quite do it, but that's the tactic we need. We need to get in the spaces behind this naive Fulham defence. Gaps like that are going to occur, and if we've got players like Anthony running onto the ball, I mean, look at the size of the gap there. He's basically unchallenged and the goal's half wide open, and he easily slots it in. But the first half wasn't all good news. Martinez got a small injury. It was only like a bruised shoulder though, so he was out for one match, which we didn't mind too much. It gives us time to give Maguire some game time. But as soon as he comes on, Andreas Pereira smashes one in from the edge of the box. That was actually Fulham's first shot. We'd had about 8 or 9 at this point, so we were a bit annoyed at that one. So Anthony took it all on his own shoulders to try and score a goal straight from kickoff. He dribbled around 3, 4, he got around Diop, but Ream just stuck a foot out. He was about 1 metre away from dribbling round the entire team. I don't know if this inspired Bobby Reed, but he came down the wing, he pulled it back, Jones was there, and he just lifted it over David De Gea. So this guy's on loan from Liverpool, of course, so I'm sure he's loved all over Twitter right now. A lot of Liverpool fans saying that they've beaten Manchester United. That was Fulham's second shot, but we were determined not to lose this match. We still had all our good attackers on, the likes of Bruno feeding it into Rashford. Can he get around Diop? He can, but the shot is awful, dragged just wide. We would have a lot of chances in this last 10 minutes. Casemiro was pushing up high, winning the ball, just like he likes to do. Rashford in the box again. He really should be scoring that, and honestly, I think maybe Fernandes could have got to that one too. Fernandes would have another chance. He would tackle, be one-on-one. His shot had gone so bad before, he decided to try and go around the goalkeeper, but Leno was too wise to let him get past. And then one of the final chances was Eriksen. We couldn't score from in the box, so we tried from outside the box. Nothing happened in that occasion. Anthony would play it into Fred. Fred would find both Rashford and Bruno, who would just run into each other. It was this kind of thing that was really seeming like it wasn't our day. Rashford got the ball turned and his shot went just wide. I mean, that was about it. You can see we had 5 or 6 good chances between the 80th and 88th minutes. But then, as the ball came to Bruno Fernandes on the edge of the box, he got called offside. And that was going to be it. Our last attack. It was so close. We really should have got at least a draw in this one. We're going to feel very hard done by to get a loss. But this is going to give us motivation to hopefully go and destroy the next team we play against, which is in the Europa League. You can see in total they had 3 shots, 1.2 XG from them. It was a pretty poor performance from our defence, but the attack, you know, it was firing. And with a game against Drogheda United from Ireland, we knew we were going to score a lot of goals. See if you can guess how many in the comments below, but after 7 minutes, there is the first one of many, many goals. Gakpo got through on goal. His pace, his strength, he's just too much for the Irish League defenders. Garnacho did a really bad first touch. He would make it 2-0 7 minutes later. So if we kept up at this pace, it was going to be about 11 or 12-0. Gakpo, another 7 minutes later, pulled it across and Bruno got his first goal of the game. We did go for a fairly strong side. Although the defence was pretty much entirely changed, we did still have Gakpo, Fernandes and Sancho, which is maybe a little bit unfair, but you know, we do want to try and win the Europa League at the very least. Gakpo got a 4th goal right there, and this is for his hat-trick if he can finish this one-on-one situation, which of course he can, because he's playing against a 58 rated goalkeeper. Lindelof played it into him again. He just used his pace. He basically ran into someone and gave it to Garnacho. Garnacho's shot was saved, but it only fell to Bruno. Bruno made sure that was going in. 6-0 before half-time. Drogheda would have their only attack of the game just before half-time. I mean, that was a pretty decent chance. They just ran straight past Lindelof and Tuanzebe. But thankfully for us, we do have David De Gea in goal. We decided to make some substitutions. We realised we didn't have a spare striker, so we decided, give Harry Maguire a go up front. It's one of the only places he's going to fit in our team, and he would get a chance after 57 minutes. His one-on-one shot hit the post and fell to Garnacho, who I think got his own hat-trick right there, just as Gakpo did earlier in the game. Maguire would win it up the pitch. This is what we were expecting. He's not the fastest, and on his weaker right foot, he manages to get the top corner. I was very happy with that goal and pretty happy with the celebration that it randomed as well. But we were going to try and see if we can get maybe a few more for Eriksen. We were pumping in the crosses to Maguire, trying to get him to knock it down. He just bullied someone right there. And that's the kind of shooting you expect when Harry Maguire is on his right foot. He would get another chance though, 80 minutes gone. He would be played in perfectly by Van der Beek. One-on-one, Maguire went round the goalkeeper, showing amazing agility. If only Bruno had done that against Fulham, we would have got the draw. Maybe Harry Maguire is the way forward. But 9-0, Harry Maguire getting 2 goals as a striker, Gakpo getting a hat-trick, Garnacho getting 2 goals, and I think Bruno getting 2 goals as well. What a performance that was. We've absolutely destroyed them. But, I mean, 9-0, we probably were expecting to get 6 or 7. 9, I'm pretty happy with. It's about what the XG says we should have got. So, we can't be too much of a complainer about that one. Next up, it was time for Wilfried Zaha to return to his former club, of course. He used to play for Manchester United about a decade ago. And, of course, Zaha being here means we're playing Crystal Palace at home. So, it's going to be a tougher game than Drogheda. You imagine this one isn't going to be 9-0, and we're not going to start taking the piss by putting Mr. Maguire up front. But let's have a look how we started. So Crystal Palace were playing this bizarre tactic where they were just hoofing the ball as high as they could straight to De Gea. They did it a couple times in the first 15 minutes. We were going a bit more possession focused. So Anthony would get the ball, tried a trick. Can't quite get past Ferguson in this case, but finds Bruno on the edge of the box. He considered hitting it, but it was actually Casemiro who'd get the shot off and would win an early corner, but nothing would come from that. Anthony would get the ball on the wing again. He's playing against Tompkins, and I mean, that's a race he's always going to win every single day of the week. You can see Gakpo's in the middle. Can we get the cross in? We can. But he doesn't go for the first time finish. Otherwise, he has a chance of getting a nice, easy one-on-one shot off in the box. Rashford was the difference. I mean, the tricks like that. He found Gakpo. Gakpo turned, and outside the boot, it was quite hard to tough. So let's get a replay of exactly how that one went in. Look at that. The technique outside the boot, right in the top left corner. Brilliant goal. I really like that one from Gakpo. And I think that's one of his about 5 or 6 goals he's got this season already. So he's been a very good signing for Manchester United. Casemiro would find Sancho on the edge of the box. That was a good effort. It wasn't too far away. We were really pushing for this second goal because we didn't want to get Fulhamed again, lose 2-1 to 2 shots on target from the AI. So Gakpo, we'd play it out to Shaw. Shaw saw the overlap on the right. The volley was well saved by Guiata, but, that was how the game was going to end. In the 92nd minute, we'd win the ball back, and that would be it. 1-0 to Manchester United. One player who really surprised me in that game was McTominay. He was definitely in line for a start or at least a few substitute appearances after how well he played. Even though our season hasn't started off that well, we're playing against Chelsea in the next game, actually, who've got double our points. We were actually starting to play some pretty good football. The start of the season wasn't too great. We did have some tough games like Manchester City in there, but Chelsea was probably going to be the second toughest of our season so far. Gave us a good chance. I think the game actually considers this to be a derby game as well. So playing at Stamford Bridge, we knew we were in for a real challenge. They've signed Ben Yedder, as they always seem to do on career mode. They're going maybe for their own rebuild with some older players, but for us, McTominay was the absolute star. You can see he won the ball on the half-an-hour mark. He drove it forwards, and without him, Gakpo isn't getting this one-on-one. It's been a feature of our career so far that one-on-ones maybe haven't been such guaranteed chances, and yet again, Gakpo's just blasted it straight at Mendy's chest. But Chelsea would have an attack of their own. James getting the ball out wide. He's really good at crossing, of course, and he finds Raheem Sterling hitting it straight at De Gea. It was such a boring first half, the ref didn't even add any minutes of added time, but we got straight into the second half. Dalot charged down the wing. He saw the midfielder advancing, and it was McTominay. What a shot that was, blasting it straight past Mendy. I'm not sure what the I'm sorry celebration was about, but that was a really nice finish from someone who isn't really known for his shooting or his box-to-box capabilities, but if he keeps playing like this, we're really going to have to consider if we play him and Casemiro. Anthony started showboating, as of course he loves to do in real life. Sometimes this kind of thing can annoy a team so much that they start playing well, but sometimes it causes them to make sloppy mistakes like that. Sancho winning the ball, McTominay had the ball bouncing up, and I really did think his powerful volley was going to find the top corner. It was so close, the cameraman couldn't even keep up with it. That's how much power was on the shot. After a corner though, you can see Mason Mount absolutely trying to destroy Bruno Fernandes. He stopped the counter-attack, and this would give Chelsea a chance. Aubameyang, his cross was absolutely awful, and that basically sums up what Chelsea were all about in this game. They were really good defending, they were charging into tackles, trying to absolutely destroy us, but when they attacked, they couldn't do anything. We could, however, and Azmoun would have our next chance. Yet again, a one-on-one saved brilliantly by Mendy. This guy's an absolute phenom. Rashford, however, he just came on as a substitute, so he had a ton more pace than everyone else. He made sure we were 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go. We weren't throwing this one away. There's absolutely every right for Bruno to celebrate like this. The whole team's in there. I think even Ten Hag was in there. I saw a bald head jumping up and down. Good finish. Not the hardest one to score, but Rashford's pace absolutely caused that goal. It was a brilliant run. He got it on the edge of his box, powered past every single player on the other team, and managed to score. There was one last chance for Chelsea there, Aubameyang one-on-one. We would finish the game though victors 2-0. Manchester United had gone to London and we had destroyed Chelsea. They didn't have many shot opportunities at all. I think that Aubameyang one was their only shot on target. Bruno had one chance, he scored the goal, of course, a nice pullback. But that's what you love to see. We need to have games like this if we want any chance of finishing in the top 4. And it's going to be important for us to get Champions League football so we can actually get some better players. So after our 9-0 destruction of an Irish team, now we're playing another British team in St Johnstone. So I think they're the 4th or 5th best Scottish team. We're the 4th or 5th best English team, so we have a really good chance here of progressing with a few goals yet again. Once more, we had a fairly strong team out. We had Bruno playing attacking midfielder. We had Azmoun up front with Garnacho and Pellistri on the wings. Van der Beek and McTominay, I think, was the other centre mid. It was a pretty strong team. The first chance came to Garnacho, you just saw from the edge of the box. Pellistri would have this one. That was actually a shot, and it would rebound out to McTominay. His shot, unfortunately, over the bar against, of course, a Scottish player playing against a Scottish team. They seem to really like tackling Garnacho. I don't know why. Whenever he got the ball, he was super pressed, but that just left space for the rest of the team, like Serdar Azmoun, who got through one-on-one, and that's why we finished him, so we can rest Gakpo, and he can score fairly easy chances in some of the less important competitions to us, like the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. He would actually find Pellistri with a decent pass after 32 minutes, in off the post, 2-0. Maybe this one wasn't going to be 9-0, but it did look like there was going to be quite a lot of goals in it. After half-time though, it was still only 2-0. Pellistri was probably our best player really. He got into spaces like this. Every time he got the ball, it seemed like he was being dangerous. I mean, shots like that, straight down the middle, is probably going to be saved in the Premier League. But St Johnstone couldn't do an answer for him. I don't know if they have a really bad left back or if they've just got a really bad whole left side of the pitch, but Pellistri was absolutely destroying them, even though he's only like 70 rated. Azmoun had a really cheeky effort here, trying to chip a goalkeeper who's barely off his line. Just missed the goal. St Johnstone would try and smash in a free kick, but, didn't really do anything. It did give them a goal kick, though. I mean, we passed it straight to them, and unfortunately, we have conceded a goal in the most stupid way. But yes, that's how the game would end. 3-1 against St Johnstone in the Europa League. That win basically meant we just had to beat Drogheda and St Johnstone again, and we would go through at least in second place behind Sociedad. But we had more important matches to think about before then, including this one against Brighton, at home in the Premier League. So Brighton have a pretty weird team yet again. They're playing 3-5-1-1 or something, and we would get a nice early chance. Their defence was just terrible in this game. Sancho getting through from attacking midfield, he would constantly be in space because they were playing no box-to-box midfielder, no defensive midfielder. We would just have all this space on the edge of the box. Sancho with a nice trick there before playing a reverse ball into Anthony to Bruno, and really Bruno's got to get that on target at the very least. Antony would get another chance here out on the wing. You can see they had a very slow fullback or centre back there, but look at this space in the middle. As soon as you go down the middle, we just got a huge amount of space. Gakpo tried to chip Sanchez, only finds the crossbar. A big hit there from Martinez and another interception, but unfortunately the ball wouldn't ricochet to us until Rashford nipped in. Rashford finds Gakpo in that massive space yet again, and he only finds the side netting, but on the wrong side of the goal, so 1-0 still to Manchester United. Alassane Plie is a pretty interesting signing there for Brighton. He's got a lot of pace, he's quite tall, he's a very Premier League style player, and look at that ball from him. I mean, Gross gets it over the goalkeeper, but Dalot gets there just in time. Could have been really bad for us, that one, but thankfully we got away with it. Gakpo, it's like he's playing against Drogheda again. Ever since that game, it seems like he's gained a bunch of pace, a bunch of strength. He's playing and he's celebrating a bit like Mbappe. But with 2-0 up, hour gone, we were feeling pretty confident in this one. There was really no chances from Brighton at all. We were playing passes around like that. First time chips into Rashford. He's in the box, a powerful volley. I mean, that could have been yet another goal. Ever since that loss in the first game to Fulham, this team has absolutely been on fire. Our attacking players were finding space. They were doing tricks. There was confidence everywhere. People were trying long shots and they were nearly coming off, like that one from Antony. But 2-0 is how that game would finish. We were playing in a really nice way, even beating teams like Chelsea. We were absolutely playing Brighton off the park, destroying the Europa League. Things were looking really good for Manchester United at this point. Next up though was a Carabao Cup game against West Ham. This was a pretty weird match, not too much actually happened. There was just 1 or 2 shots, including this one from Serdar, which probably should have gone in after 5 minutes. One from Skamaka too, and then finally one from the edge of the box where he would just blast one straight past David De Gea. There's not too much we can do about shots like that, unfortunately, as Moon would get the chance to lead a counter-attack. However, he would find Rashford out on the wing. Rashford back heels it to McTominay, back to Rashford. Can we get the ball in the box? We choose Azmoun, we choose McTominay again. We find Antony out on the wing. All of a sudden, Cash is in the box, but he loses the ball. And that's the end of the game. 1-0 to West Ham United. It was a pretty poor performance. We don't really care about the Carabao Cup. We don't have any objectives towards it. So we'll let David Moyes enjoy his little celebration there. But next up was a new stadium to FIFA, of course. The City Ground in Nottingham, my favourite team. So let's see how we get on in this one. They're not doing too bad compared to real life on FIFA as well. They're somewhere down the bottom, but they're not bottom of the league like they were at this point in real life. They've got some good players like Renan Lodi there, of course. Dennis would get the ball. How dangerous was he for Watford last year? Somehow, though, David De Gea would rescue it. Before Sancho would try and lead an attack. We were playing him down the right in this game rather than through the middle, just to give Bruno a go because of how good he's been in the Europa League. But it was actually Casemiro who was leading the attack. Through on goal. What a save from Henderson. He shouldn't really be playing against this because he is on loan from us, so I'm sure there was probably a clause in the contract, but of course, FIFA doesn't respect that kind of thing. Dennis would be twisting and turning in the box. Ryan Yates getting on the edge. Dennis again finds Brennan Johnson, but his kills effort straight at David De Gea. Matty Cash, of course, loved by the Forest fans. Antony doing a bit of showboating. They don't like that in Nottingham, if you remember what Richarlison did, but he gets the ball back again. Antony into the box. Tries to chip Henderson, only finds the crossbar. We're getting unlucky with our chips in this episode. Next up would be Antony getting involved yet again. Sancho to Gakpo. Who can Gakpo find? He goes for Matty Cash. He scored a lot of goals at the City Ground. Can he cross it in? He does back post. But unfortunately, I don't think we could quite win the header there against someone as tall as Serge Aurier. David De Gea kicked the ball into space, and Antony would beat Freuler to try and win the ball. He's got a lot more pace through one-on-one. Oh, somehow he should be scoring that. That was a really bad effort, but that's how the game would end. That's actually how the episode would end as well. Thank you for all your support on this series so far. I'll try and get some more episodes out this week, including that game against St Johnstone, which is going to be the first episode of next episode. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you soon. Cheers and goodbye.